What's happening, people? Brett here from Bad Intentions Boxing. I've got John Harding Jr. with me, middleweight, 4 years as a pro, 8 wins, 1 draw, 2 defeats. But actually, the 2 defeats have come against Linus Odefina and Jack Cullen. There's no mistake or there's no disappointment, mate, in saying you've lost to people of that caliber.
And I'm good. You know, losses are lessons, man. So I'm just it's all about how you bounce back in life. You know, we take losses in different forms, and it's all about how you bounce back, man. I've learned a lot. Jumping in with guys that I had, you know, they've had more experience than me, has only helped me develop more and more. So I just can't wait to get back in there and just rally the people on, man. Rally the people on, and this is how you bounce back, man. This is how you bounce back in life in general. So I'm excited for the next chapter.
So I'd say that any defeat that you've had, you've taken it well within your stride and you've just carried on going.
Yeah, you know, it is obviously, you know, you do have your moments where it's like, damn, you know what I mean? I've never jumped in and thought, oh, you know what, I'm going to lose. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm winning this. You know what I mean? That's always been the intention, you know what I mean? And when it has, you know, when it's on its way, you reflect, you see what's to learn. You know, there might be things behind the scenes that affects due to the loss or towards the loss, and you just regroup in each way. And I take it as life as well, man. There's so much losses you take of life. I've taken losses of friends, parents, freedom. I've taken so much, and I've bounced back from it. Every hard situation, I've always got through. So I now adapt to a thing of like, every situation in life I've somehow got through. So through this situation, what's different from the last? I'm gonna get through this, you know what I mean? So that's the mentality, and I just can't wait to shake things off and get it going.
That's an absolute fantastic insight to have from somebody that arguably has said, you know, listen to the amount of drawbacks that I've had in life and look how I'm moving forward. Where does that mindset come from?
Wow, it comes from my experience in terms of life, really. Because if you don't dig in yourself and pick yourself up, no one's gonna pick you up. You try and rely on someone to pick you up, and you'll see how far you'll go. If you rely on someone else, that's a curse there. You know, you've got to, you know, you've got no. I had no option. Just sitting in those prison cells, and you know, you're thinking you want to blame, and you just realize, you know what, suck it up. You've made a mistake. Make it right. Just make it right. You know what I mean? And in life, I've noticed as human beings, we judge on the mistake, the loss, and that will be the remembrance. But people always forget you can bounce back. You can bounce back. And once you bounce back, just like, let's look at losses. AJ, we're not no longer talking about the Ruiz loss. He bounced back. You know what I mean? Like, when you just focus and say, this is it, this is what I'm gonna do, I'm going for it. You know, things change, man. And I think it's just to have the mindset, the belief and focus.
And where would you say for you that transition really happened, where you made that decision, actually, do you know what? I don't want to deal with this street life anymore. I'm going to put my head into boxing 24/7.
It definitely started in prison, and the flashbacks I do get. I used to have some, you know, pictures on my wall of like when I was in the amateur boxing, and I think I had one picture of Steve Collins on there. And what did he say to me? I remember an officer that called me to the side and said, "Wow, you know, you're like, do you used to box? You box? Oh, you with that one? So you with Steve Collins? Like, oh, what are you doing here?" Like, and it was always that thing I used to have. Like, when officers got to know me, they couldn't understand while I was in prison, or or anything. When I used to do poetry, you know, people hear the way I put words together. Officers always say that, boy, I don't know how he's in prison, or I've done acting roles when we was in prison, like this part of a course, the head of the prison said to me that Harden is just a waste of talent. They used to say that word, and I just swore down. I've just got always something in me that I've noticed when I want to prove someone wrong, it just puts me in a different. I use it as fuel. I've always used the negativity as fuel. Like now, I'm fired up to get back in there and show what I can do.
That message, I think, you know, is important, and anybody that's sat listening to this, it's about being stuck in that cycle. Sorry, isn't it? And I think there becomes a point for everybody, and sometimes it takes longer than others. But actually, to identify that there's a point where, do you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I've got a success, I've got a talent, and it doesn't matter whether you write, read, whatever it is, and whatever your talent is. Everybody is out there. And I think it's imperative that people take on board that message. You know what, actually, that you've sent out there, John. If you can do it, why can't anybody else do it? That's brilliant. You know, that's deep. That's deep and powerful. Let's move on to the next stuff. Where are we at with the boxing?
Right now, boxing, I'm still recovering. There's a slight issue that I had during the last build up to the fight. That's kind of took effect in the fight, and I'm still kind of at a stage of recovering, so I can't specifically give a date and too much information into it.
That's fine.
You know, I've kept it under wraps, but I was hoping I'll be, you know, back now. But quite tough. So springtime should be, hopefully, or will be back as long as I keep resting up.
So we're still training and ticking over then, I imagine, at the moment, but leaving.
Yeah, I tried to, you know, I had a little knockback. I tried to come back a bit too early, and it kind of longed the period out. So it's like I have to. One of my, you know, one of my habits was overtraining. You know, staying on top, overtraining. And it can get like that because you're always thinking of the opponent. What are they doing? I'm doing more than they do. Sometimes you're just, you know, you don't listen to your body in a different mindset. You're in that fire. You're in that war. You're in the gladiator. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, let's rock and roll. But yeah, I'm just at that point where I'm just, you know, taking my time, trying to be smart. It's not always just about just having the heart. I'm trying to use my mind more, and I can't wait to just give the fans back for supporting me.
No, that's fantastic to hear. So are you still training out of the Dillian White stable?
Yeah, obviously the situation, the guys are in Portugal, and they're there. They can't really shift from there. All the pandemics, just everyone's adapting to a lot of things, man. It's kind of messed things up. So it's like for me, I have to restructure my training regime. You know what I mean? My coach was always in like he's now basically Portugal, and sometimes in Northwest where he's based. So it's like I have to adapt. I have to make sure I've got my base where I'm training and get my regime quite tough. But you know, this is the situation. We just have to make use of it.
And how difficult would you say that's been at the moment? The situation outside in the world, how it's affecting everybody like yourself and many other professional boxers and amateur boxers that are trying to come through?
Well, let's start with amateur boxing. It's despicable, man. I feel it for them so much. A lot of them might be even pressured to just want to turn professional. If you want to build, it's very hard. Right now, the professional game is take a hard fight or no fight. That's the game. That is the game. You're lucky if you do. I don't know. Some people may get easy running. I've always been one to. I like the experience that I'm learning from it. But yeah, that's really the game. That's why you're not really seeing. You're seeing fights, not seeing much fight. But in the way, I feel that it's good for boxing because that's where MMA was running away with the sport because we were seeing consistently fights, best fighting the best. People, you know, bouncing back. It was like a normal thing. And why ain't the same in boxing? You know what I mean? So in a way, it's like a catch-22. We've seen the best shows, boxing's got the attention, but it depends. A lot of fighters ain't really ready to just take that step in the court.
And again, I think that's an important point that you've made there. It's either taking a hard fight or no fight. And I suppose in the back set of somebody's mind thought, sorry, that's going through that is, am I willing to get paid or not? And ultimately, I think that's the difficult question that people are having to ask themselves.
Yeah, the difficult is that everyone, they're scared to risk it. Life is a risk. If you're not willing to take risk, is an excitement, man. That's what I love. That kind of. I feel I'm addicted to that thrill, that risk, that it can go either way. It's like it gives. It's boxing is a form of entertainment. That's why we watch it, and it's all about really the sport is, are you willing to entertain the fans? Are you willing to take the risk? Fans love the risk. That's what they're drawn to. The risky fights of this world. Everyone's the debate of it's now the debate of AJ and Tyson Fury. And then when they've gone through, there'll be another debate about maybe we got Spence and Crawford. We love just people throwing the dice. That's what the addiction is in this boxing game. And if you're willing to give that to the fans and to yourself in your own career, you roll it and get the right numbers, you will pay off.
And would you say that's something that we're not seeing so much of at the moment, that actually people are guarding themselves or safeguarding themselves and perhaps taking easier fights than what they should?
That's why you might wonder why some people ain't fighting.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't think I haven't seen much people that were willing to fight someone that's had maybe more experience than them, more fights. You know what I mean? I jumped in with when I fought Cullen, he had more KOs than I had fights. You know what I mean? But it's just the risk. It's just the risk, because if it pays off, you're in a superb position. And some people, they're not really, fights can happen. Fights can easily happen. You can pull people out. You can make some noise. But I don't think no one is really willing to risk fighting higher, fighting someone that's had more fights than them, or I don't really see that much.
So, in terms of your own career at the moment, are you still under the banner of Matchroom, or is that something that's on a fight-by-fight basis?
It's more, like I say, my thing is more with obviously Dylan. He managed me, and it's we're not tied to Matchroom like that, but they do business with Matchroom, so we still work with them. You know what I mean? So it all depends, but I'm free to any show. We're on that position where, like, listen, we'll fight anyone. If there's a good avenue there, we'll do business. Whoever's available, we'll do business on their show. So it's not specifically we're actually tied down to Matchroom, but we've got a good relationship there.
Okay. That's a great insight that you've given us this evening, essentially in the world of boxing, that I think a lot of fans that are sitting at home and watching this aren't going to have the potential to be privy to. So I think there's some interesting information there, and there's a lot of food for thought, actually, potentially, as to why some fights may be taking place, some fights aren't, and actually why some people are struggling to get paid. And I think that's the harsh reality of the world that we're living in at the moment. Is there anything particularly anybody else that's watching, or a message you'd like to send out to anybody? I suppose in relation to what we were talking about earlier.
Oh, and do you mean in terms of like, what do you mean, like people, I don't know, struggling to make the transition, or do you mean in boxing?
Yeah, exactly that.
I get a lot of messages where people, are they're much younger than me, and they're in that pressure of they want to get to where I am. And for me, I'm in my heart, I'm still trying to get up there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And for them, I can say is that your time will happen. Keep working hard, stay consistent, believe in yourself. The power of believing in yourself. Don't wait for others to believe in you. Believe in yourself and visualize it. Like no matter, in my head, I visualize my comeback. I visualize me standing there victorious. I visualize me saying into the cameras like, "This is what happens when you just don't give up. This is how you bounce back." It all starts from here. You know what I mean? We visualize this interview in our heads how it's gonna go. People visualize the computer that we're happening. Someone visualize the phone. You know what I mean? And probably someone said, "Ah, you talking about phone? No way, that can't happen on the." You know what I mean? And it becomes the TV. We visualize. Someone visualized that. Someone visualized the planes. Someone visualized the car. Everything starts here. When you start, because sometimes I think a lot deep. When I started to realize it's all the power of here. Once you control this, it's infinite. It's infinite because the whole world, everything is created from this.
So that, in a nutshell, I think that's hard work, persistence, energy, and listen to yourself, basically.
Yeah. Just just wake up and like for me, I always say every day, today's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. Today's gonna be a blessed day. I'm gonna bless people, and I'm gonna bless. Bam, you start the day. You just start the day with talking big words into your life. Man.
No, that's good. So before we end, what we usually do is we have 3 quick fire questions. You can answer them if you want to, or if you don't. 3 questions I've got to ask are, there'll be 3 quick fire questions. Low skill or AM?
You know what? I'm not too clued up with them, but I'll say low ski because he's more closer to Southeast.
Yeah.
My bits anyway. So yeah.
KFC or Burger King?
Ooh, I think KFC. Yeah,
Sliders
KFC.
or trainers outside?
Say it again.
Sliders or trainers outside?
But no, that's a trick because you got to say the weather. If I'm saying right now, if you're gonna see me, that I'm gonna look like an uncle. If I'm walking out there in sliders now,
No.
if it's summertime,
Yeah, we'll put that. That was a good caption. We'll put that one down as a quick question, mate. We'll leave that one in there. All right, John. Honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on this evening. I'm extremely grateful for your time.
Thank you, man. You're a great person as well, man. You're great. What you're doing is great, man. So
no, thank you very much. Bad Intentions Boxing. Give us a follow, and there's a message out here. Make sure you listen in and capture it. If John can do it, so can you.
Thank you.